Hi. Finally, I get to make this video. I'm so happy. We are gathered here today, beloved besties, to talk about my top 10 Barbie movies. I've been talking about this for a while. I've wanted to do a Barbie movie ranking video for a long time because, hello, obviously. I actually have before, a long time ago. It was like the fourth or fifth video I ever posted on this channel. Some of you out there might remember watching it once upon a time, but that was a video made before my channel was monetized, and I wasn't very conscious of, like, copyright stuff yet. And once I did get monetized, well, I had to say goodbye to it forever. But now we're back here, and I thought a lot about how to format this video, and I eventually settled on doing it in two separate parts. So part one is this one, which are my top 10 favorite Barbie movies, and next time it will be my top 10 least favorite, best and worst. I chose to do it that way because, one, there are a lot of Barbie movies, and two, while I'm confident in my ability to rank them all, speaking as a professional Barbie connoisseur, I wanted to avoid that thing that happens with lengthy ranking videos, where, there's a stretch in the middle where it's just a lot of saying, it was fine, I liked it, I didn't hate it, over and over, So I decided to just cut the middle part out entirely and focus on movies I knew I would have a lot to say about. And of course, I should give the disclaimer that while my opinions do happen to be the most valid and factually correct and logical and credible and well-founded, they are my opinions. You will probably have different opinions, and that's fine, that's okay. Especially when it comes to Barbie movies, I know people get really attached to certain ones. I'm pretty guilty of this myself, as we'll see. But it's all in good fun. In fact, I think one of the most beautiful things about Barbie movies is that everyone has their movie, and it differs from person to person, but we can all come together to appreciate the mastery and the beauty and the wonder of Barbie movies just in general. So if you don't see your favorite movie on this list, I promise it's not personal. And in fact, if you disagree with me, I would love to hear all about it. I want to hear about your favorite Barbie movies and what makes them special to you. We'll save being evil and hateful for the next time, okay? Actually, I do have one more disclaimer to get out of the way, just so no one is caught off guard, because I know it will happen. I'm gonna tell you right now, Princess and the Pauper is not on this list. I know, I'm sorry. I promise that doesn't mean that I think it's a bad movie. It's a perfectly fine movie, but it's just not a top 10 for me. And I understand that makes me somewhat of a pariah in the Barbie movie community, but I stand by my truth and my principles. But that's enough preamble. I know you're all dying to hear my list, so let's go ahead and get into it. Number 10, the Barbie Diaries from 2006. And to set the record straight, I do wash my clothes. So, this one might be controversial. Maybe. Actually, I'm not sure. I feel like this movie used to get a lot of derision, but more recently, a lot of people have come around to it. For me, it was never a movie I hated or even disliked, but it wasn't necessarily on my radar for a while. Like, as a kid, it wasn't one of the movies I watched a lot, so it was one I tended to pass over when I thought about my top Barbie movies, To get one thing out of the way, yes, this movie's animation is awful. Definitely the most visually unappealing Barbie movie. The entire movie looks like it was animated to be a PlayStation 2 cutscene. Not even pre-rendered, an in-engine cutscene. But if you can get past the animation, there's a really charming story here. I think I like this one because there's really no other Barbie movie like it, One that's just a contemporary, low-stakes high school drama. And I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite later on because when it comes to Barbie movies, there's definitely, like, a baseline level of whimsy that I expect, of fantasy. But what sets this movie apart as one that's more grounded is that it doesn't try to be anything else. It's committed to being what it is, if that makes any sort of sense at all. This is also the debut of Raquel, who goes on to become one of the most iconic recurring Barbie characters in the entire franchise. But all the characters are pretty fun. This is probably the Barbie movie that I quote the most in my day-to-day life. If there was ever a Barbie movie that could double as, like, a Disney Channel original movie, this would be it. And I just really adore those vibes. Last time I ranked Barbie movies, 25 years ago, I did actually factor the dolls into my ranking because I think that's a very important aspect of a Barbie movie. I didn't do it this time because I did just want to focus on the movies, but I still want to talk about them because the Barbie Diaries dolls are excellent, sublime, just perfection. Oh, they're so good. Number 9, Barbie, a fashion fairy tale from 2010. Let's get one thing straight. Life is a Fairy Tale stays on the Spotify rotation. Also, Raquel's back for this one, and she's just as iconic as ever. I really love the beginning of this movie. I love that the premise is Barbie being canceled and fleeing the country. Truly at her lowest, she was broke, she was nasty, she was single. All she had left was a plane ticket to France and a dream. It must be really nice to be Barbie. Your entire life falls apart and you're just like, I'm going to France. Just gonna book a flight real quick. With her dog, mind you, in the plane seat. Barbie bought a whole separate ticket for her dog and put that dog in the seat next to her. No leash, no crate, just vibes. Which speaks to what I love about this movie. It's so Barbie, just peak Barbie. It is actually one of the movies where Barbie is Barbie, not Barbie playing a character, but Barbie the actress who plays all of the other Barbie movie characters. It makes sense if you're caught up on your Barbie movie lore. But it's so Barbie. Fashion is a major focus. Barbie invents the concept of glitter. Essentially, she summons divine beings and introduces the concept of glitter to the masses, and then becomes the most fashion-forward woman on Earth. The message is that you should pursue the passion that makes you happy, even if you aren't necessarily successful in the eyes of other people, because not being well-received doesn't mean you're not doing something important, which I think is a really complex and a very well-delivered message for this movie. Elise is a really cute side character too. I thought her and Barbie had a lot of great chemistry. The Ken subplot. Admittedly, I don't really watch Barbie movies for the Kens or really for love interests, so I honestly tend to tune out like the romantic subplots. But I thought Ken was so adorable in this one, just so cute and so devoted to Barbie, even when this movie put him through hell. Overall, I think this movie is such a good middle ground between the earlier, more fairy tale oriented movies and the later, more contemporary, grounded Barbie movies. And it delivers everything I want from both of them. The reason it's not higher on this list really comes down to the dogs. I thought the dogs just had way too much screen time, and I did not care about the dog romance. I really didn't. And unfortunately, the animals are like a significant chunk of this movie. Number 8, Barbie and the Three Musketeers from 2009. This is another one that was just not on my radar for a very long time. Even longer than Barbie Diaries, actually. I know I watched this one as a kid, but I didn't rewatch it until very recently, like within the last few months, and I really, really enjoyed it. A lot of Barbie movies are very hesitant to portray, like, action scenes because they don't want to imply violence, I guess. And even this one, you can tell they were holding back quite a lot. The fight scenes are kind of silly, and slapstick, which I don't usually like, but they did still manage to land for me. This is definitely one of the most predictable Barbie movies. It's very by the books. You know, girl aspires to be hero. People tell her that girls should not fight. Girl proves them wrong by fighting good. Saves the day. Everyone unlearns their socialized misogyny. The end. But I don't know, something about Barbie fighting crime alongside a team of color-coded ladies in pretty dresses, it activates a part of my brain, and I love it. And I know I said I wouldn't factor in the dolls, but the Musketeer Barbies, they're so good. Some of my all-time favorite Barbie movie dolls, just like hands down. Look, is it an accurate portrayal of 17th century France? Absolutely not. Does it adapt the story of the Three Musketeers? Not at all. Does the movie even seem to know what a musketeer is? Not really. But do you get to see a lady in a gorgeous outfit swing fans around like she's Katana from Mortal Kombat while a girl-powered cover of Unbelievable plays in the background? You sure do. And like literally, what more could I ask for? Also, not much to do with the movie, but I do think The Three Musketeers has one of the best Barbie video game adaptations, in my opinion. Barbie video games, especially the ones based on movies, don't typically have a great reputation, but this one was really solid. Number 7, Barbie Mermaidia from 2006. So I'll get into this more on the next video, but I recently rewatched a certain Barbie movie, one that is very fondly remembered and beloved. And I realized while watching it that it was actually not very good. And I got pretty scared because I was like, oh my god, what if I misremembered Mermaidia? What if it's not nearly as good as I remember? What if at 9 years old, I had trash taste? I'm happy to report, though, that Mermaidia still holds up. Even at 9 years old, I had immaculate taste. This movie has it all, though. A gorgeous aesthetic, a great cast, a really fun villain. Oh, I live for Laverna. Nori was a really great character, too. You'll notice that I'm really partial to characters who start out as, like, having a rivalry with Barbie. I just love the drama, and I love the character development. Nalu was also pretty great, and although I'm not someone who really gets interested in romance too much, I liked that the central relationship wasn't him and Barbie, you know? Also, mermaids. If you know me, you know I love mermaids. All of the mermaid-themed Barbies have a really special place in my heart, but Mermaidia is definitely my favorite of all of them. If I had to deduct points from this movie, it would be because of that weird, ugly turtle. And also for making me look at the fungi too many times. Number 6, Barbie and a Christmas Carol from 2008. This is another movie that I love for just how unique it is. If you've watched like more than 2 Barbie movies, then you know they have a tendency to portray Barbie as a very Christ-like figure, with a few exceptions. But she's typically the voice of reason for the other characters. She's kind and patient and forgiving, and perhaps her only flaw is that she's simply too perfect. Very much not the case here. This movie casts Barbie as Scrooge in the Christmas Carol story, or Eden Starling in this case, which more or less kind of makes her the villain here. She spends a lot of the movie actively making everyone's lives worse and feeding on their misery. She goes through a lot of growth over the course of the movie in a way that's actually pretty believable and kind of heartwarming. I've watched a lot of adaptations of Christmas Carol in my time. I think most people have. And actually, an important piece of context here is that I do not like Christmas movies. Ever since I was little, I don't know, I've always disliked Christmas movies, which kind of makes me sound like a Scrooge too, I guess. But it's not the concept of Christmas I hated. It was just Christmas movies, because I found them so predictable and derivative. And yes, I used those exact words at 8 years old. But all Christmas movies are just the same to me. They have the same characters, the same plots, the same morals and messages. So the fact that Barbie got me to genuinely enjoy and love a Christmas movie, that should tell you how good it is. But I think the movie is really, really solid in its message. It's not too preachy. It's not the Christmas Carol story like one-to-one. And in my opinion, actually improves on the source material in some ways. And I realize how incredibly presumptuous it is to say that Barbie improves upon the writing of Charles Dickens, but I will stand by that. And it's also very poignant. The movie is actually like pretty profound in the way it comments on things like the cycle of abuse. It goes places that I had never expected a Barbie movie to go. Like, there's a scene that implies that a bunch of Victorian orphans tragically died off screen in what is actually, I think, one of the most horrifying scenes I have ever seen in a Barbie movie. And I mean that in a complimentary way. It's really good and a really effective movie. I also think Catherine is one of the best side characters in just Barbie movie history. I love the way the movie explored her and Eden's friendship. And it's actually criminal that she never got a doll. I know she had one planned, but it never came out, which is just incredibly tragic. What's also tragic is how ugly that cat is in this movie. The cat was just an absolute nightmare. Number 5, Barbie of Swan Lake from 2003. Time for the top 5. So when it comes to my top 10, I feel like numbers 6 through 10 can be shuffled around a little here and there, even replaced in some cases, and I wouldn't be too upset about it. Even when I was putting together the outline for this video, they kept shuffling around quite a bit. But my top 5, I feel pretty confident in my top 5. So, Swan Lake. This is one that I am perfectly fine with admitting that nostalgia fully colors my decision to put this one this high up. If I were going to be fully objective, she might have gone down just a little lower, but I just have so many good memories with this movie that I just could not possibly put her outside the top 5. This was my number 1 childhood Barbie movie, and one of my favorite dolls, too, growing up. I was a Swan Princess stan. This is a movie that is just guaranteed to transport me right back to being a kid, watching Barbie movies on VHS and playing dress-up games on Barbie.com. But even as an adult, I think it's still a pretty good watch. I think it holds up. It's a really gorgeous movie aesthetically. It's a very relaxing movie. And it has some great dance sequences, too. The motion captured ballet in these early movies is actually consistently really, really good, and also very interesting to watch. Number 4, Barbie is the Island Princess from 2007. I'm sure this is no surprise. This is definitely one of the most beloved Barbie movies. And for good reason. There's a lot to love about this movie. The plot is fun and nicely paced. It has a really nice aesthetic. I know I'm saying that word a lot. Ro, the protagonist, is interesting and engaging and really involved all throughout the movie. The romance, again, speaking as someone who usually doesn't care about romance, was sweet. It was really sweet. Also, it being a musical, the songs were great. Very big, like, Broadway musical vibes. I could actually easily see this being a stage musical. I also really liked that Luciana was a pretty sympathetic character, and that's actually something I love about a lot of Barbie movies. They portray really interesting and complex relationships between female characters that go beyond the basic tropes you usually get. In a lesser movie, Luciana probably would have been a really catty and unsympathetic character, but her and Ro had a really sweet dynamic. We also need to talk about Queen Ariana, who is, in my opinion, one of the most iconic Barbie movie villains ever, period. What an absolute icon. What a diva. What a queen. She is mother to me. I feel like the number of Barbie movie villains that get a song and dance number about killing their husbands and then meticulously planning a royal assassination is tragically small. But Ariana came to deliver, and I love her for that. Another thing is that she was actually a very competent villain. The Barbie movies tend to have villains that are like more comic relief than they are villainous. I assume to just keep them from being too scary or too threatening. But Ariana was a real threat throughout the whole film, and that just kept the plot really interesting. And Ro was a very competent protagonist, too. I mean, Barbie movie leads usually are, but watching her javelin Ariana right off the road had me clapping and cheering. I also think Island Princess deserves flowers for having one of the most beautiful Barbie movie dresses of all time. The peacock dress that Ro wears to the ball is just so iconic, stunning, and absolutely legendary gag. If there had to be a detraction, it would, again, be an animal. You might be getting the sense that I don't really care for ugly cartoon animals, and you would be right. In this case, it's Tika. And I know, it's been talked to death about what an awful, miserable elephant Tika is, but it's true. There's just something dark in Tika's spirit, something fundamentally wrong and evil, and my pure angelic spirit rejects her. Number 3, Barbie in the Pink Shoes from 2013. If this was a list for the most underrated Barbie movies, this would be number 1. I never ever see anyone talk about it, so I'm taking it upon myself to spread the good word. Watch this movie. I love it so much. This movie is such a love letter, and not only to those early ballet-themed Barbie movies, but just to ballet as a whole. I have talked about this before, so apologies for kind of repeating myself, but I used to take ballet. I also studied costume design in college, and that's actually what I intended to do after I graduated. I wanted to design costumes for ballet. So it was actually just really so cool to see a main character in this movie, Haley, who does exactly that. Do you ever just watch a movie and you can tell just how much fun the people working on it had? Because that's exactly the impression I get with this one. You can tell the people making this movie really loved what they were doing. It's not only like just a genuinely very good and emotionally fulfilling movie, it's also extremely funny too. I think definitely one of the funniest Barbie movies, but it also knows when to take itself seriously too. I don't know, I really can't compliment this movie enough. It's one that I rewatch a lot, every now and then, and every single time, it just hits. I wish it was more heavily discussed, but I guess it did kind of come out at a weird time. But if you haven't seen it yet, take this as your sign. Go watch Barbie in the Pink Shoes. Number 2, Barbie: A Fairy Secret from 2011. I think out of all my placements, this one might end up being the most controversial, because Fairy Secret is a pretty well-liked movie, but I feel like it doesn't come up often when people talk about their favorite movies. You know, this one usually isn't regarded as being a part of the pantheon of incredibly beloved Barbie movies. It's one of my all-time favorites, though. First off, Raquel. Love Raquel. If you didn't know, this movie is actually sort of a direct sequel to Fashion Fairy Tale, so it's the same Raquel from that movie. And she's everything to me. Her rivalry with Barbie and her character development and the way they become closer throughout the movie, it's just so good. So good. Like the Pink Shoes, this one has a more comedic tone to it. It's a severely unserious movie, but I like a movie that doesn't take itself too serious. It's aware that its premise and its plot are kind of silly, and it doesn't try to be something that it's not. So that leads to some really great moments. But it does get serious. It has emotional weight. Both Barbie and Raquel experience a lot of growth, and there are still stakes in this movie too. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the movie is very smart. Yeah, it's smart. And like I said with Fashion Fairy Tale earlier, I think this movie is a great encapsulation of this era of Barbie, where we have magic and fantasy and fairies, but also a very fashion-forward contemporary approach too. Literally, the best of both worlds when it comes to Barbie. Like, this is a movie that is guaranteed to make me happy every time I watch it, no matter how many times I watch it. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it. There aren't even any ugly talking animals to insult. Alright, so before I crown the all-time best #1 Barbie movie, I do want to name off some honorable mentions. Because putting together a list of 10 was actually very difficult, and there are a few movies where even if they didn't make the top 10, I would just be remiss not to talk about them. So for the honorable mentions, I have Barbie and the Diamond Castle. It may not be in my top 10 favorites, but it is definitely #1 on the list of top 10 gayest Barbie movies. And I love it for that. It is actually a very charming, a very fun movie that I enjoy a lot. I just do not enjoy those dancing puppies. In fact, I still see them square dancing in the darkest corner of my room whenever I wake up with sleep paralysis. Barbie Starlight Adventure. I wanted to shout this one out for being the only sci-fi Barbie movie. And for, just being a pretty good movie. This is the last movie we got before Barbie transitioned into the modern era of Barbie movies, where Barbie is Barbie, but a different Barbie that's not the Barbie from Fashion Fairy Tale and Fairy Secret, and she's not really playing a character. It makes sense if you know. Anyways, it's just a movie that encapsulates the end of an era, and I think we had a good send-off. Barbie Dolphin Magic. Speaking of the modern era of Barbie movies, this is the only one from that era to be featured in this video, and I really genuinely don't mean to be like one of those people who are like, old thing good, new thing bad. It's just how things played out. Anyways, I don't think every modern Barbie movie is bad. Some are pretty good, and Dolphin Magic is probably my favorite of them. And now, it's time for my #1 Barbie movie, which, if you know me, will not be a surprise. #1, Barbie Princess Charm School from 2011. Oh, 2011 was a really good year for Barbie movies, I guess. I love this movie. I love this movie so much. It really does just have everything. Aesthetic and visuals, check. Intrigue and suspense, check. High stakes, check. Emotions, check. Humor, check. A great cast, check. It has some of my all-time favorite moments from Barbie movies, and it's just one that I will literally never ever get tired of watching. It is just the pinnacle of Barbie movies to me. I don't know if it will ever be topped. Remember how I said I loved, the rival characters in Barbie movies? Well, it will come as no surprise that Delancey is one of my all-time favorite Barbie movie characters ever, but I genuinely just love everyone in this movie. The whole cast is great, the plot is great, the music is great, everything is great. Also, it's the only Barbie movie to feature Portia.
Delancey, they're serving floor cakes.
So what more could I possibly say? And there we have it, my top 10 favorite Barbie movies. Or, alternatively, the objectively best and most correct ranking of Barbie movies. Now, as I said, you are absolutely free to disagree with me, and if you do, I want to hear all about it. I love Barbie movies so much. I have appreciation for all, 758 of them. That sounds right. But truly, really, let me know your thoughts. Tell me all about your favorite Barbie movies. You don't have to itemize a list or anything, but even if you did, I would still be so happy to read it. And when you're done with that, just be sure to like and subscribe for any future Fashion Doll content. And remember, keep it cute.